before it spreads widely. 69 of you, 69% said it is pre-banking, and 31% said it is debunking. So the correct answer here is the first one, pre-banking. So this is where we focus on seeing that we are able to address misinformation before it actually spreads, by looking at some key triggers and some things that audience should potentially look out for. So the second one is, which fact-checking strategy refutes false information after it has been widely circulated? I see 11% say pre-banking, and 89% says debunking. That is correct. The second option is true. The next question was, which fact-checking strategy involves proactively providing accurate information to preemptively counteract potential misinformation? So I see 58% of you say pre-banking, and 42% say is debunking. So the correct answer is pre-banking. 58% is correct. And then the fourth question is, which fact-checking strategy involves disapproving false information that has gained traction? That is what? Debunking. Six. Which fact-checking strategy? By educating people about potential false claim. That is also, you people still find these key terms very, so that means that so that it is very clear. I hope that all of you are seeing the correct answer. I will now stop sharing, and then we can proceed with the session. Should you have anything at any point, please put it in the chat box. We have somebody who is following the chat box, and I should get information immediately. Something odd goes on, so that each of us is able to get the best out of this training session. Once again, thank you so much for your participation during the pod. I hope you're getting me clearly, and we are set to start the session. Should you get knocked out by internet, you can follow the live stream on YouTube. The YouTube live stream link is being shared. Please get the link from here in case network gets bad and you get knocked out. Also, if you're in the WhatsApp group, we'll share the same link in the WhatsApp group so that you are able to follow the session from YouTube. So I will be opening the floor. On your participation in the poll, have you already understood these key concepts, or do you still find them very confusing? You can raise your hand, and then we will be able to allow you to speak. In case you would like to share your thoughts, probably you really have understood those concepts, you can raise your hand and then speak. I see people already sharing their marks in the chat box. Yes. James Con, I see your hand is up.
Thank you very much, moderator, and all the members. Actually, these two terms are quite confusing to me. According to my own understanding from a recent poll, I see as if pre-debunking is done before any fact checking is or whatever, or is done before what you are checking is not yet published. And debunking is like checking what is already being checked. That's according to what I've seen. But actually, I need more clarification to understand these two terms. They are quite confusing to me. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, James Scott, for the comments. Is there any other hand up? Any other person? You can raise your hand, and then we can see who else wants to say something about. Who else want to say something? Okay. Yes, Alwal. Alwal, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, BTR. One thing I can say is that this is really very new for me. Like it's a very new fact-checking strategy for me. And trust me, I was just gambling. I don't even know how many I got. If I'm not even sure, it may even be 3 out of 7. But then I'm really very happy to have joined this afternoon session so that I learned something. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Alwal. Yes, Benjamin Mark, you're welcome. Benjamin Mark, you're welcome, please.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure being here today. And all I can say is that, dear friends, the two strategies are not that confusing. It is how you get to view the perspectives in your own different ways. Because rebunking before it spreads, while debunking process is the process of examining and discrediting false information that has already been circulated. That's all I can say. And I'm really happy to be here and enjoying together the session with all my brothers and sisters.
Why are you playing?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Yes, Leon Deneki, I see your hand was up.
Yes, Bida, good afternoon. Yeah.
Yes, afternoon.
My major challenge is because the internet, I think it is the same issue of last week. It's the same problem which we are facing today, but I hope you're going to work over it. That's what I want to speak about today.
What is wrong with the internet, please?
It's like the same thing what happened last time, logging out, in, off. So that's the problem now. I hope you will rectify the issue today.
Okay, yeah. I hope it works for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Okay, great. Any other comments? Okay. Now we can proceed with the session because please, can you close the door? We just basically, okay, I hope you are seeing my new screen now. Can you see the presentation? The new screen? Okay, great. Okay, great. I believe all of you are seeing the new screen now. If you have any other things, you can post them in the chat box. So, we say that the spread of misinformation continues to pose a very big threat to societies around the world. Like, no one is not afraid of misinformation, whether you are in a family setting, whether you are in a community setting, you are in a church, you are in a school. Misinformation, that is false information, is a challenge, and it can affect proper decision making, and it can affect the way people relate to each other. For example, if we have malicious rumors, for example, malicious rumors are known to sometimes lead to deadly riots. Like sometimes people can do sort of demonstration when information is not properly sent out. And also, the belief in misinformation has been associated with the reduced likelihood of getting vaccinated, for example, against COVID-19. I believe that most of you here are not, some of you here are not vaccinated against COVID because you had some information about the COVID-19 vaccine. Yeah. And that is why you didn't get vaccinated. So researchers have looked for effective ways to counter the way people think, the way people perceive and share misinformation. And these two effective ways are in two categories. One is debunking and the other is pre-banking. So pre usually means before something, and then D usually means after something. So in addition to debunking misinformation after it has spread, you see? So debunking is talking that something is false or true after it has spread, right? A new line of research now looks at how we can prevent users, news consumers, news creators from falling for misinformation in the first place, an approach known as pre-banking. So, for instance, let's say like there is fire, yeah, there is fire in front of you, yeah, and then we want to make sure that you don't get a burn, right? So then we begin telling you that, hey, please, there's a fire in front of you there. You walk carefully so that you don't step on the fire. That is pre-banking. We are telling you about a looming danger so that you do not become a victim of circumstance. That is pre-banking. And then debunking is maybe like you already got burned, you stepped on the fire, and then now we are giving you first aid so that you recover from the burn. That is what we call what? Debunking. Already the damage has been caused, yeah? But then with pre-banking, the damage has not been caused yet. I hope that is now very clear to you. Now, the different misinformation levels. For instance, at the individual level, we talk about boosting people's ability to be able to differentiate between false and true information. We do awareness so that people know these things. And then critical thinking, encouraging people to make sure that they always think about issues before they decide their course of action. And then the next thing is media literacy. So it's sort of again where now you teach people critical thinking skills so that they are able to analyze information that they come across. And then we have nagging. So where we talk of accuracy is very important. We talk about social norms. And then we have debunking, where we now talk about fact checking and corrections. And then we have content labeling. We talk of automated or manual labels, where we can label when any information comes, we can edit, and then maybe we write something fake, or we write false, or we write disregard this information. Yeah, that is labeling. And then at the system level, for instance, we talk about social media platforms or other tech or news platforms. So what they have to do with systems like social media, their algorithms, there should be some transparency and accountability measures in terms of the algorithms, especially for social media platforms. And then we have business models, like the business models of these tech companies should be addressed so that like they are able to support reliable news media, and then legislation where laws can be put in place to be able to combat online harm, and then regulating tech platforms, and then geopolitics where people combat bad actors and also people reduce polarization. So all these are misinformation measures that can be taken at the individual and also at the system level, both in terms of debunking as well as pre-banking, to see that people are heads up and also misinformation is properly countered. So when we talk about pre-banking, like I mentioned earlier, it is just like talking to your friends and families about the types of misinformation that they are likely to see before anything happens. For instance, recently on Facebook, like if you're in South Sudan, you probably might have a friend or relative whose account has been compromised because of very basic things, where somebody says, hey, there's free internet, please, there's a code that has been sent to you. You send me the code so that I give you access to the free internet. And then somehow the person loses their account to somebody they do not know. But then when you talk to somebody that, hey, have you known this trick that is used these days to steal people's accounts? And then please, if you come across this, do not share your code with anyone. Make sure that you should know that your code is private only to you and it shouldn't be shared with other people. You see that? So that is one thing. So when you begin to talk to people about these things like this, so then you will realize that people become sort of armed, and then they do not become victims of circumstances. So, and then we'll talk about debunking. Debunking is now when organizations like fact-checking organizations like 211 Check explain, now they come to us and explain to us that something is false after the thing has been shared, you see? So like this is only important for the public record, but it is not as important as pre-banking. So what do we mean now? We mean now we can conclusively say that the most effective strategy to countering false information is pre-banking, because this explanation, this fact check that is published will not reach as many people as where the false information has already reached. Yeah. So it is very important that for each and every one of us to be able to talk to people that we know about likely scams, about likely hoaxes, and also likely conspiracy theories. Because right now, like in the case of South Sudan, we are entering an election period, yeah? So already political parties are being registered, and political parties like the SPLM are already doing campaigns, they're already doing endorsement meetings and stuff like that, yeah? There are already billboards on the streets of Juba, where the SPLM are talking about their activities. Yeah. So when you anticipate likely scams, likely hoaxes, and likely conspiracy theories that will pop up during the election period, then you begin to talk to people that are close to you about these things so that they are aware about how this sort of hoaxes, scams, and
Hey guys, can you hear me? Okay, great. So I got knocked out by internet, but I have rejoined. So I will be sharing my screen in the meantime. And feel free to share your thoughts through the comments, like at any point, because this is going to be more like a discussion. And we have first finalized the key concepts. Like I mentioned, I said that, like, when you talk to your people, like people that you know about the scams, hoaxes, and conspiracies that they might see during a particular period of time, it will help them get their defenses up. And so that when they see these rumors, they are less likely to be fooled. For example, like most of you might have noticed that, like when you, the kind of misinformation that most often spreads, yeah, like you realize that this is the same sort of misinformation surfacing every now and then, yeah. So if you are aware about how the same videos and images about how the same images and videos pop up during periods of times, such as when there are crises, when there are sort of maybe fights, when there are demonstrations, and people keep bringing the same videos again and again, then you will notice that like there's a trend, or there's a way like these things are done, especially by the disinformers, because the disinformers, they are very tactical in their campaigns. They know what they want, yeah, and how they can get what they want, because they usually sort of manipulate people's weaknesses, like emotions, and then also desperation. For instance, when they realize that a lot of people are desperate for opportunities, such as jobs, such as grants, and then they begin cooking up stories that will likely make people fall for things like their grants and similar, yeah. So basically, for you then, your work is, as somebody who is aware, is to speak now to those who are not aware of these things, yeah, so that they do not become victims of such unfortunate circumstances. And when you talk to them about these things, that is what now we call that is what we call now pre-banking. But then when you wait for them to be scammed, and then you say, that thing is a scam because of ABC, now it is debunking. Already they have been harmed. Yeah, probably they lost a fortune during the process. So now I will open the floor again in case any of you has extra thoughts to add, or if anything still seems unclear, especially with those of you that didn't get the point from the poll, and also from the insights that were earlier shared by Benjamin and then James, then Alwal. So if you need to add some more contextual information, or if you have questions, I will allow you to sort of speak. Probably, yeah, you can raise your hand, then we can allow you to unmute, and then you speak. Thank you. Yeah. So yes, I see a hand from James Corn.
Yes.
Yes, James Corn.
Yeah, I think I have now got a clue of what is about debunking and pre-banking. So according to your explanation, I'm now a bit satisfied, and actually with the examples, I become convinced compared to the previous one before when answering the questions. So I hope I'm convinced and I've understood the two terms. Thanks.
Oh, okay, great. So you should just simply put like pre-banking before something goes wrong, yeah, and then debunking after something goes wrong, yeah. Thank you, Con. Another, is it clear now to everyone? Like these terms, are they clear now? Okay, so GB, you can add a few things. Again with yes, I see Malek. Malek, you're welcome. Malek, your hand is up. And Malek, can you speak, please?
Yes, please.
You can
Are you
proceed.
getting me?
Yes, we are getting you. Thank you.
All right. I just want to say something about what you have already said concerning pre-banking and debunking. The prefix pre and d are the ones to be understood first. The pre means before, and the d is after. For those that haven't understood it well, when we come to practice, like most of the information now goes out, let's say policy information goes out first. What we are dealing with in the context of South Sudan is debunking mostly, because the information is shared and it is unverified. So what the fact checking does and what fact checkers also do is just debunking. So I want us to shed more light on pre-banking, because in the medical point of view, prevention is better than cure, and prevention means pre-banking, and the cure means now debunking. See, so that means pre-banking is very important, but both of them are important as far as our situation is concerned, because the information goes out wrong, and when we rush to verify it, and we tell people like this is wrong and this is right, this is debunking mostly. You see, so this is the little that I wanted to say about these two important words, which are very important for us as fact checkers. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Malek. So just like I mentioned at the beginning, if you understand these prefixes, and if you can refer back to your English classes, and then like it would be easy for you to do that. And then also, Malek, I agree with the point that pre-banking is very important, because English says prevention is better than cure. For instance, in the example I gave earlier, like there's fire in front of someone, yeah, and the person is likely to step on that fire and get burned. And then you tell the person that, hey, guy, there's fire in front of you. If you walk without watching, you might likely what? Step on the fire. So please be careful. That is pre-banking. So the person will avoid that. But then debunking is where somebody has already stepped on the fire, and then you come in to give first aid to the person. Sort of that, yeah. Already the harm has been what? Has been done. Yeah, thank you so much, Malek. Any other person who would like to add their thoughts? You can raise your hand, and then you should be able to share your thoughts on any additions that you would like to make before we proceed. Okay, Rogers, you're welcome. Rogers, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you getting me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Rogers. Please proceed.
Yes, I really thank you for this exciting topic, because we really need to differentiate between the two. For me, I knew about debunking, but prebunking is something new for me, and I'm very excited about it, because basically we need to embrace prebunking, because as you explained and some colleagues explained already, and we do understand that we are trying to do something to do damage control. Before something happens, we need to control the situation. So in terms of reducing the damage, we need to make prebunking our civilization, like our daily activity. We do it every now and then. When I get new information and I see something want to go sideways, I try to do damage control by educating people and sharing information, as you mentioned earlier on, so that we avoid something bad to happen. And we do know that the level of sensitivity for information is very important. When someone shares negative information and it goes out there, it's very, very hard to bring it back. So I would like to say that for us here who are attending this meeting, I think we should agree that we make it our daily activity that we do every now and then. We share information, because most of us are online every day, and we get information. We have to share it with people, not the negative ones, but the positive information. And if there is something going around which is very negative and will cause damage, we need to control it before. Like the issues as you mentioned as an example, in these cases of hijacking email accounts and Facebook accounts, and these WhatsApp hijackers who are really victimizing a lot of our friends and our family members in South Sudan these days. And some people, their technical background is very poor. That's why I think these people are succeeding. So we can start by that, by sharing this information. You don't do 1, 2, 3, so that you will avoid 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you so very much, Rogers, for the input. We will give it to another person. No females. No females here. No female here. Are we all gentlemen? No female wants to say some hi. We can give it to one female, and then we can proceed with the discussion. Or any other. No females. Females, you're all okay. Yeah, I see in the comments, Mawaminga is saying in technical terms, he could say that pre-banking is preventive and debunking is corrective. Yes, perfect. That's true. And yes, please. No female wants to say hi, wants to add their voice to the discussion. Okay, okay then. So if there are no emails, we can proceed. So if we are to continue with talking about debunking, so the debunking method involves like the primary knowledge of the complex cognitive and perceptual processes of humans. So this is because like as fact checkers, we need to understand how people process the acquired knowledge and information, and how their existing knowledge is affected, and how their worldviews and their ability to think rationally is also impacted. Because, for instance, this is where we talk about social behavior change. Yeah, because usually all of you can agree that like it's not easy to change the way people think about certain things. Yeah, so that means that for us to be very effective in the debunking approach, we should be able to employ proper social behavior change skills to enable people like believe in some of the aspects that we are trying to tell them. Yeah, so this means that debunking is not primarily about what people think, but also about how people think about these issues. Yeah, so the basic task of somebody who is debunking is to reveal the disinformation, the fake news, misinformation, and their various forms, such as hoaxes and conspiracy theories. Now, when we are doing debunking, the rules simply will require us to just talk about the disclosure of falsehood, and then being able to focus on the steps that you take in order to verify the information that is false, or the false information that you have disclosed during the debunking processes. Yeah, so I see somebody's asking in the comments that what are hoaxes and conspiracy theories. Anyone who would like to answer hoaxes and conspiracy theories? What are the differences between these two terms, a hoax and a conspiracy theory? Anyone who would like to answer the difference between a hoax and a conspiracy theory? So like, yes, Malek, you're welcome. Malek, you're welcome, please.
Are you getting me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, between let's just take the singular forms of them, like the hoax and the conspiracy theory.
Yes.
The hoax, HOAX. This is, in another word, a trick. And the conspiracy theory is something that is related to politics mostly, but it also happens in other aspects. Like you concoct something that is false against your opponent so as to win the interest. So this is what is meant is simply by conspiracy theory. You conspire something that is not existing to, let's say, to win your interest or to win what you are doing. But the hoax is just a trick. You want to trick someone to you know, and all in all, they all aim at getting the interest. Like you trick someone to get you what you want. You conspire something that is unfounded to get your interest fulfilled. This is the simple difference that I know between them.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Malek. I see another hand from Gatkoth Dak. Gatkoth, over to you. Yes. Thank you so much, Malek.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, Gatkoth, over to you. Gatkoth, over to you.
Yeah,
Gatkoth, your mic is off. Okay, Gatkoth, we can hear you now. You can proceed. Gatkoth, please turn on your mic.
yes, hello.
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, according to my understanding, Ox information, these are just like making jokes against someone or making something funny in the name of another person. And also conspiracy theories. These are just like making plot or harmful, having a secret that can cause harm to someone. I think that is my simple understanding about the two information. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I see got quote that. Yeah, precisely. Benjamin Mark, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, leader. I have a little explanation about hoaxes and somehow so kind of hard to pronounce. But anyway, hoaxes are deliberate attempts to deceive and trick individuals. There are different types. There are different ways of tricking someone, just as Vida has mentioned, social media stealing, passwords, and all this. And conspiration. Oh wow, really down on this. Anyway,
Conspiracy. You say conspiracy.
conspiracy. Okay. Thank you very much. Conspiracy. On the other hand, are explanations and interpretations of events that involve secretive plots, often powerful by entities or individuals to manipulate or deceive the public for their own gain. So I hope you can understand on this. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I would say that a hoax is simply something that does not exist. Yeah, but somebody wants to claim that it exists. And then a conspiracy theory is someone's interpretation and explanation of an event, just like what Benjamin mentioned. For instance, when Dr. John Garang's helicopter crashed, up to now, even recently, Al Jazeera released a documentary video that was published on YouTube. So it is like someone's own explanation to or an interpretation, what they think about a certain thing. So that is what we call a conspiracy theory. I hope that is clear to the person who asked. Yes, I hope that is now very clear. Thank you. Now, before making any mention of falsehood, when you are debunking, the author of the recipient
should point out the following information is misleading, yeah? And then the text should always contain an alternative explanation of the refuted disinformation was false, but also explain in more detail what specifically mislead the recipient. So what do we mean here? We mean that, for instance, when Mawa, let's say Mawa shares something that is false, yeah? And then somebody is asking whether the information is false or true. Don't just go and say the information is false or true without giving an explanation of why it is false or giving alternative explanation. So the rule of debunking is that when something is false, for instance, if somebody posts the job and you know this job advertisement is false, you tell them that, hey, this job advertisement is false. It is not found on the official website of the organization, or because I have contacted the human resource person at this organization and the person said that such job advertisement does not exist. So you offer alternative information. So that is a very, very important rule when you are debunking. So the next time you're trying to tell somebody that something is false or true, make sure that you give them alternative information so that they are not what? Misled. Another thing is you should have a simple graphic processing of the message so that it presupposes a clear acceptance of the intended message, and so that like people now get to believe that what you are telling them is true, or what you are telling them is what? Is false, because they already have the alternative information. And also the graphics can sort of supplement, especially if the person does not have time to read very long text. They can just see the graphics and then they will then conclude on their own. So you should also be able to disclose of an idea and not of a person. Authors seeking to point out the widespread disinformation should focus on rumors and lies relating more to the subject of the event and not the subject of the event that is part of. So, for instance, if an entity or if a person publishes false information, let's say if iRadio publishes false information, and then you want to debunk the information, you see? So your focus should be more on the information that you are debunking rather than the entity, because there are some people who will be focusing more on the entity or the person that published the false information than the false information itself. That is not how debunking works. When you are debunking, make sure that the focus should be on the information that is false and not the author of the information. So you should also be having very proper storytelling skills, because the readers will find it easier to remember the facts if they are presented in a form of a continuous narration, because your role as a debunker is to choose a suitable narrative structure for presenting your arguments about a particular false information. And also, you should be able to select relevant sources. Make sure that you should work out clearly in the text and refer to credible sources, not only textual, but also, for example, audio or audiovisual, which can increase the legitimacy of the source. And then also there should be presence of positivity, because the term debunking is mostly associated with negative connotations. But for you as a fact checker, you should apply positive language in your efforts to uncover lies or misinformation, because this will make it a more positive and credible impression on your reader who will be seeing your content. So earlier on, Malek mentioned that prevention, not cure, may be a more effective way to combat disinformation. Some of you, somebody like Malek is a medical student. So I am told that as doctors start their careers, they usually swear to uphold something called a Hippocratic oath. So I don't know what the Hippocratic oath is, but this is something that I should be able to research. So this means that if people tackling misinformation were to establish an equivalent oath, then we as fact checkers should make sure to borrow one of the original phrases. Prevention is preferable to cure, you see? Because as with medicine or as with the practice of doctors, so with misinformation, it is better to prevent misinformation from spreading at all than trying to debunk it once it has spread. So that is why understanding how pre-bunks work and how they don't is essential for reporters, fact checkers, policymakers, as well as platforms. Very important points here on the emphasis that should be put on pre-banking efforts, which can help us prevent potential misinformation from spreading. Because right now, like right now, I am very excited that many people are able to identify false information, especially from platforms like Facebook, where there are a lot of South Sudanese. And then, like most of you who are part of our WhatsApp community, I don't know how many of you are not part of that WhatsApp community. If you are not, you should be able to join after this session. Because in that WhatsApp community, you realize that like almost immediately, somebody comes across information that they suspect is false, they throw to the group. And as a result, like already, this shows that already many people are able to spot misinformation. This is because they're already aware about how misinformation looks like, yeah? But if somebody is not aware and the person comes across that same information, they will just fall for it without thinking twice, yeah? So now we are now talking about the basics of pre-banking. What works or what does not work in pre-banking efforts? Like, what are some of the basic things that we should be able to do when we are pre-banking? So one of the things, because the idea of inoculating people or teaching people to be able to spot false or misleading information is simple. Because if you show people examples of misinformation, they will be better equipped to spot it and question it, you see? Because much like vaccines, because the work of vaccines train your immune response against a virus. You see? Like most of you, like when you are born, yeah? When you are young, you get vaccinated about, I don't know, 6 or so vaccines, right? So the work of that vaccine is to train your immunity system to respond against what? Diseases, yeah? Knowing about misinformation can help you to dismiss it when you see it, you see? So when you inoculate people, inoculating people can be achieved through a number of tools and approaches. Because one of the things that you can do to teach people how to spot misinformation is maybe by doing a course, like a text message course, like maybe in a WhatsApp group, like in that WhatsApp group of ours, when we started it, we posted lessons for people so that they can learn this. Every day we post one lesson. Like we post one lesson for them, then they get to learn one thing or two about misinformation. Another day we post until we finished the course, and people got to know this. Like you just get to WhatsApp and you read at your free time. See, that is one way that can help us. That is one approach. Another thing is we can do even games, like games that teach people how to spot misinformation or even hate speech. You see, like if I head now Cameroon, they have a game where you play something like a Ludo game, and it helps people better spot the different forms of mis and disinformation. So and then also, or simply what you can do is you can track down and share an article that debunks key claims and techniques, yeah? Yeah, you can even look for information on the internet that teaches people how to identify false information. And then you share. It can be a YouTube video, it can be an article, a how-to article, and so on and so forth. So these are basic things that people can do. And then if resources are available, we can now do even in-person training where you bring people to a location and then you train them, or you do webinars like the one we are doing now, or you do an online training, and then people get to learn these things on how they can teach their friends and family on the importance of identifying false information ahead of time. I don't know if any of you has extra comments, you want to make some input. Yes, any thoughts? You can raise your hand and feel free to share your thoughts. It's an open discussion, so you are free to raise your hand, and then if you notice something that you could also contribute to, feel free to raise your hand and we can allow you to speak. Anyone who would like to say something? By show of hand. Yes, Peter Ajak, you're welcome. Peter Ajak, please proceed. Peter Ajak, please proceed.
Yes. Thank you, Bida. I don't have much to say. I just want to say that thank you for always, training us and giving us more about fact checking. This is time now. South Sudan is going for their election, and there are many other things that will come up, of which we young citizens need to be very careful. With the knowledge that we have gained from here, I think we'll be able to identify things that will always cause problems to South Sudanese. So this is just, I want to commend this, and let's continue with the discussion. And this discussion is very fruitful to me, and I've learned a lot of things today. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Peter Ajak, for the compliment. Yeah, it is our collective responsibility as citizens to be able to work together. That is why we continue to build a community of all of us. Like you see, most of us here are from different professions, but at least they get to get the basics of these fact-checking things. And then you cannot easily fall for misinformation. And I'm sure that if you talk to people who are closest to you about the same, they cannot also become victim of circumstances. So this is the essence. And thank you so much, Peter, for joining us and also for contributing to the discussions. Thank you. Any other person who would like to say something? Yes, Clark, Mariel, Mayom. Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vida. I hope you're hearing me clearly.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yes. So it's my first time today to attend your webinar, and it has really been so educative and helpful. So I have understood the difference between debunking and pre-bunking. But my request is you should also hold another seminar on how we can be able to identify like the conspiracy theories and the hoaxes. Because right now we have got the information, yes, of debunking and pre-bunking, but how do we identify them? Because you can even know about the two, and later you can be sent a fake link. You cannot know whether the link is authentic or not, and you can click, and later on you end up being hacked. So that's my request, and thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that is why I say that after the session, some of you who are new here should make sure that you are able to join our WhatsApp community, because there's a lot that goes on in that community, a lot of discussions, a lot of links that are shared, and also a lot of advice that are usually offered to the community members on like best practices. Otherwise, thank you so much, Marianne, for your contribution. Any other thoughts? Maybe one person. Ladies, Where are the ladies in the call? Any other person who wants to say something? You can raise your hand. Okay, no person. We can proceed. So, how do you do pre-banking? We say that the most accessible inoculation technique is pre-banking. The process of pre-banking lies tactics or sources before they strike. They can be quick and cheap for reporters, fact checkers, and governments, and others to make. For instance, a good pre-bank addresses people's concerns. It speaks to their lived experience and compels them to share that information. Because with pre-banking, we empower, because the whole point is about building trust with our audience instead of simply correcting facts. So the three main types of pre-banks include fact-based pre-banking. This is where we correct a specific false claim or narrative. And then we have logic-based pre-banking, where we explain the tactics that are used to manipulate people. And then source-based pre-banking, where we point out bad sources of information. Now, let me build each of these. When we talk about the source-based, the source-based pre-banking, so this is where already, like all of us here, we know which sources of information are bad out there. Like on Facebook, we know which pages we should not believe in any information they post. We know those pages. We know which websites we should trash their news. Yeah. Like, so the source-based pre-banking is where we point out the bad sources of information and telling people that please do not rely on information from these sources. You see, that is fact-based, source-based pre-banking. And then the logic-based pre-banking is where we explain the tactics that are used by disinformers to manipulate people. So we tell people that please, when you come across information that plays with your emotions, you know that this information is likely false, okay? When you come across information that aligns with your biases, that aligns with your worldly belief of things, you should have question marks. You should critically analyze this information. We tell people that, hey, when you come across people wanting something from you urgently, like urgency is a way of manipulating people, yeah? So when someone said, hey, please send me this code that has been sent to you urgently. I need something like this. Oh, please make sure that you sign into your bank account today, otherwise your account will be blocked. You know that these are common tactics that are used to manipulate. So these are the things you will teach people when you're teaching them pre-banking. And then the fact-based pre-banking is where you correct a specific false claim or narratives. Possibly already there are narratives in the past, false narratives in the past. So you can use those examples and bring them and show them to people that, hey, are you seeing this sort of false information that has been circulating? So please be careful about this so that you don't become a victim of circumstance. So like this, you are already inoculating people about the lies, the tactics, and sources so that they know how these things look like when they come across it. And then these people will be empowered. You see that? So when you're pre-banking, there are some 10 tips you need to follow. 10 tips that you need to follow. One of the tips is you need to figure out what information people need. Okay? Probably we are in a time where there's information vacuum. So make sure that you figure out the sort of information that people want during that time. Then after that, choose your example. Choose the example of information that you want. Very, very careful. After that, then you wrap that information in truth. Warn your audience, add some details, draw out the tactical play, draw out the tactic
that is at play, and then explain how you know what you know, and then keep the information simple, make them shareable, and then find where your audience is and publish there. So these are 3 steps using 10 tips. In the first thing is you need to know what to pre-bank. And in this, you have 2 steps. And then after that, designing the information that you got from the first step. And then after that, now share what you are pre-banking. So these are the key essentials for you to consider when you are pre-banking. So I would like us to reflect on these steps carefully. I would like us to reflect on these steps carefully, and then I am going to share the attendance register in the chat box. So kindly register your attendance for this session. Register your attendance for this session. Register your attendance for this session. In the way I'm sharing the link. Usually when you register your attendance, you will receive an email. So here is the attendance register. We are taking a break until 4. We are taking an 8 minutes break. So if you are following on YouTube, I am pinning the attendance register in the live chat. So please also register your attendance. I see there are about 9 people following on YouTube. So please register your attendance for the session. The attendance is already pinned. So register your attendance for this session if you're following on YouTube, and also if you're following on Zoom. At this juncture, we will again reshare the poll. We want to see whether you have again understood these different perspectives. We are launching the poll again. Now you answer the poll. Answer the poll once again, so that we see your thoughts have changed. We want to see now if your answers are going to be uniform. We want to see if all of you have understood this. So yeah, so there are 7 questions. It's just the same poll that we used in the beginning. So we just want to understand whether you have really understood the concepts, whether you have been following, whether you have been very attentive. Yeah. Unfortunately, if you're following on YouTube, you might not be able to answer. But I think, let me just yes. So the first question, if you're on YouTube, just listen to me, and then you can answer. But you focus on filling out your attendance. You have 4 minutes left to complete the attendance. So after that, we will not share the attendance again. Once again, this is a polite reminder. This is a polite reminder that the attendance has been shared in the chat box. If you are following on YouTube, we have shared the attendance. So just tap on that link and then put in your attendance records for this particular session. So when you complete the attendance, Google Forms will automatically send you an email, and you will be able to see the record that you submitted. If you are following on YouTube, click the message pinned on top of the chat, and you should be able to complete the attendance record on Zoom. Once again, thank you so much for your participation. And once you are done with filling the attendance, you can then complete the poll. You can complete the poll. We want to see whether you have understood the concepts that we have been explaining about a session. I will also read out a few comments that we have in the chat box. Conspiracy is a secret way of doing something in order to cause harm, and that is Banya Tom. Somebody saying hoax, Mario's and malicious deception. Conspiracy reasons for an event or situation that claims, often without evidence, or against prevailing facts, that it was secretly caused by powerful actors working together. These actors are often described as shadowy groups or organizations, and their motives are often portrayed as being sinister, stealth-savvy. And somebody saying the Fox is making a lie look or sound true, and conspiracy theory is painting a specific picture about something happening to cover up what is real. Wow, interesting. And somebody's talking about network being bad, it's talking about that. Somebody's saying WhatsApp group, the WhatsApp group link was shared via email. The link for the WhatsApp group was shared by email. Unfortunately, yes, so you should be able to join the WhatsApp group. Somebody saying the WhatsApp group should be, I don't know whether you don't read your emails. That is quite unfortunate if you don't read your emails. But if you read your emails, you should be able to find the link to join the WhatsApp group. Let me see if I am able to get it here and then share with you folks. Yes, otherwise I see that 1 people have voted. As a polite reminder, the attendance list has been shared in the chat box. And I would also like to say that this will be the last sessions that we will have under this particular project. And this has been possible with the support of the International Fact-Checking Network, a coalition of fact-checking organizations around the world that are helping organizations see that their audiences are able to differentiate between false and true information, and also are able to teach others how to differentiate between fake and true information. And for some of you who have been following up this session since July, August last year, we would like to sincerely thank you so much for your commitment and also your punctuality. We hope that the sessions have been very helpful to you and also people who are very close to you. We also hope that you've been sharing the knowledge and skills you have gained throughout these sessions. So this session is the 12th session. This session is number 12. So we had 11 sessions previously, and our attendance now is up to close to 400 people who have been part of the sessions. Of course, some of them are the same people, but the general attendance is close to 400 attendees. And yeah, so thank you so much once again for being part of these sessions. So I hope that most of you have filled in your records in the attendance. We have 1 minute left. We will not share the attendance again because the announcement has been made again and again. We'll resume the session and then be able to finish it up. And I would like to thank again each and every one of you for your contributions throughout this session. It is our sincere hope that you found it helpful. Yes. Yes. So we have, if you're following on YouTube, we have retracted the attendance register because the time is up, and we can now resume. We can now resume our session. I hope that most of you have been able to register your attendance. Okay, now I hope you're ready to proceed. So when you are doing pre-banking, Make sure that you find out what information people need. Don't anticipate your audience questions, and don't assume that your questions are the same as the questions of your audience. So what is it that people find confusing? What pre-existing narratives might bad actors exploit? Are there any events coming up, including elections or health campaigns, that people might need more information about? How can you help people identify these tactics and narratives so that they are less likely to fall for them? Choose your examples carefully. Some rumors crop up again and again and will resurface. Focus on them. Focus on a claim when they are likely to be key vulnerabilities, such as right for an election. A false claim might be that the date of an election has been changed. Focus on tactics if you want to build more generalized resilience to disinformation. A tactic might be the use of experts to bolster a lie, or the use of emotional language to manipulate you. And then you need to wrap it in the truth in the design process. That means that you should prioritize the truth. That means either leading with the facts or a very clear warning of how information is being manipulated. Before you repeat the myth, warn your audience. Remind your audience that the people are trying to manipulate them and why. This will put your audience guard up, increasing their mental resistance to misinformation. This could simply be a warning that some people will try to mislead others about the scientific consensus of climate change for political reasons, or a reminder that some individuals profit from selling fake cures in the case of health misinformation. You need to add details in the design process. That means that you don't want to overwhelm your audience, but you try to pack in a few reasons why something is false, because it will help them to increase their belief and arms them to counter arguments they can use to debunk the claim when they counter it. And you need to also, if you're correcting the false claim, you need to remind your audience that this tactic is not exclusive to this example. You can use other false claims as teaching examples to help your audience, like being able to know the tactics and strategy that are mostly used for manipulating them. For instance, examples can be from issues that are less political with audience, and also can be as effective as a teaching tool. In the design process again, explain how you know what you know and what the audience do not know yet. By this, this can help people resolve the conflict between fact and myth, and gives the audience the tools to reject the claim in the future. For instance, if you use a reverse image search, if you did a who is reverse image search, if you look through Google Maps, or if you interview the source, just tell them these things so that they know how to verify such information in the future. While sharing the information, make sure that you break down the information to the simplest version of the idea so that it is easier to remember and then spot afterward. You can use infographics, especially those that build on ideas that are readily widely shared. And then you can also make them shareable online so that people can be talking about these things. Of course, you need to know your audience. It's because it's just like marketing also. So when you're marketing things, make sure that you know your audience, yeah? Because not everyone might be interested in the content, yeah? So make sure that you know your audience, like, because it's more like a business, yeah? For instance, if you want to sell, let's say, you want to sell maybe beverages, like, let me say, alcoholic beverages, you wouldn't want to go to a very religious community that denounces alcoholic beverages, yeah? You rather want to go to a community that appreciates alcoholic beverages. So like when you know your audience, because successful pre-bunks will join and be integrated in online spaces and platforms where your audience are already spending time. So like here in this example, we say that you think of it like a party. Like if you're in one room alone, providing good information, while everybody else is in the garden having a drink during the party. That means that your pre-bank will not go far. So what you need to do is you need to use social listening and monitoring tools in order to figure out the digital spaces where the party is happening. And then you join the party, you see? So that means that as with parties, you have to go read the room before you jump into the conversation. You need to think about the culture of your audience. What does engaging content looks like in a particular, for instance, on Facebook, you look, if you want to share your pre-banks on Facebook, you look carefully. What kind of content do you see sells on Facebook? Which kind of content do you see Facebook people interact with? And then maybe you go to Twitter. What kind of content do you see like people interact with on Twitter? So when you are able to understand your audience, when you are able to know the kind of content that your audience is interested in, and then you know where and how to share the information. Next. Okay. So that brings us to the end of my presentation, I think, yes. So I would like to open the floor to each and everyone. If you want to share your thoughts about anything specific, you can raise your hand. Meanwhile, I can end the poll and then share the results and then see. Let me see whether people are agreeing now. Oh, I still see differences, yeah? I still see differences in the results. So that means that people are not agreeing on some of these things. Okay, that's quite interesting. I think we will share the notes with you, and then you might want to review again, because I had thought that by now there would be an agreement on these concepts. So maybe you can just check on your results and then see how it looks like for you. Yes, Vanya Tom. Yes, Banya Tom, I see your hand is up. You can please speak. You can speak, please. Banya, are you not able to speak? Please unmute and speak. Tom, please unmute and speak. Are you not able to? Yes, please unmute and speak. Okay, I think he might be facing internet issues. Is there anyone else who would like to say something? Anyone else? You can raise your hand and then maybe add your final thoughts on what you think. But basically, you would notice that basically you would notice that it is very important for us to practice pre-banking. Yes, so I think if you got 7 out of 7, that means that is good. Like you have understood the key concepts, or the points of discussions, and it's very important for us to teach the people around us about knowing the tactics, especially those that are used by manipulators, so that people do not fall for scams. Yeah, it's very, very important. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Any other final thoughts? Let me just stop sharing this. And yeah, good. Okay. I would just stop recording.